Hello everyone, hope all of you are doing well. In today's session, we are going to attempt a critique of the role of dance in ancient Greek theatre along with some good examples. Not to mention that this particular question was exactly asked in December term and examination 2022. Now, one thing that we need to understand is that critiquing the role of dance in ancient Greek theatre involves examining both its strengths and limitations within the concept of the performances. Now, we all are aware that how dance is a vital part of theatres. Okay, even now if you visit theatres, you will see the component of dance being exponentially used in theatres in order to express or add value to the theatrical aesthetic experience, right? So while dance plays a significant role in enhancing the theatrical experience, it has also certain shortcomings that need to be addressed. Now in this session we are going to discuss exactly both the strength and the weaknesses, that is the limitations, along with some examples. Now let us start with the strengths of dance in ancient Greek theatre. In that regard, the first point that you're going to mention in your answers is that enhanced spectacle and aesthetics. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that dance is actually a very important and significant part of any theater. Okay, dance adds visual and aesthetic dimension to the Greek theater performances as well. It contributed to overall spectacle by incorporating graceful movements, elaborate costumes, and coordinated choreography. Now, it is very important to understand that the dances that were performed in ancient Greek theaters were not random. Okay, they were designed in such a manner that they add value to the entire plot. The physicality of dance captivated the audience attention and heightened their engagement with the play. For instance, the chorus synchronized movements and gestures in tragedies like Sophocles' Antigone added a striking visual element to the performance. So Antigone is an Athenian tragedy written by Sophocles in 441 BC, and it also happens to be the second oldest surviving play of Sophocles, preceded by Ajax. Now, the second point that we are going to mention in case of strengths of dance in ancient Greek theatre is emotional expression. Now, dance was a powerful means of conveying emotions and mood. Dancers used gestures, postures, and movements to express complex feelings such as joy, sorrow, anger, and fear. This emotional resonance allowed the audience to connect with the characters and themes on a deeper level. Now, those of you who have attended theaters, they personally know the contribution of dance in the upliftment of the aesthetic value of the entire play. Now, in case of ancient Greek theaters, it was the same, where the dancers used different type of gestures and postures and also movement to express the feelings of sorrow, anger, and fear. A good example in this regard is Aeschylus' Agamemnon, where the chorus dance of lamentation effectively conveyed the grief and tragedy of the characters. Now let us talk about the limitations of dance in ancient Greek theatre. In this category, the first point that you're going to mention is narrative complexity. While dance could evoke emotions, it sometimes struggled to convey intricate narrative details. The abstract nature of dance could lead to ambiguity in storytelling, making it challenging for the audience to follow complex plot developments. For example, in Euripides, the Bacchae, the chorus dance celebrating Dionysus might have been visually engaging, but it might not be effectively conveyed the intricacies of the deity's backstory. Now, let me put it into very simple words. Now, sometimes what happens is, even though dance can convey a lot of emotions like sorrow, anger, and fear, at times it is not doing justice with the narration of the play or the plot. Okay, sometimes it also confuses the audience, and that is where it creates a complexity, and that particular complexity is known as narrative complexity. Now, the second point in this regard is language barrier. Greek theatre heavily relied on spoken language for communication. Now, we all know that language is a powerful medium to convey emotions. Obviously, in theatres, the language was used as the primary mode of communication. Now, dance as a non-verbal form of expression could potentially create a communication barrier, particularly for audiences who were not familiar with the cultural and symbolic meanings embedded in the movements. Now, see, when we see a particular play or a particular theater, the dances that are performed are binded with the cultural differences. Okay, it is clearly visible that the movements, the gestures, the postures have a cultural connection. Now the people who have not connected to this particular culture, they might see it as a cultural indifference, and in that regard it might be a language barrier where the dance will fail to convey the emotion. Okay, this limitation might have hindered the accessibility of the performances to diverse audiences. And the third one, as I am saying right now, is cultural context. The significance of dance in ancient Greek theatre might not be fully appreciated in modern times due to differences in cultural context and aesthetic preferences. While dance was integral to Greek theatre, its role might not resonate as strongly with contemporary audience accustomed to different forms of performance and entertainment. Now, in this particular point, we're talking about the modern audience, all right? Because here we see that as we see a lot of people attending the theaters or play, obviously there will be a diverse set of mentality. The way we interpret theaters will be different, of course, and obviously the way we get performed or we enjoy the aesthetic nature of the theater will also be diverse. Now in this case the dance might be a constraint, all right, because different type of people might find different elements of the theater to be enjoyable or of aesthetic nature. But in that case dance, we cannot say that it can be uniform for all categories of people. Now in conclusion, what we can say is that dance in ancient Greek theater had both its strengths and limitations. It enriched the theatrical experience by contributing to spectacle, emotional experience, and cultural authenticity. However, its abstract nature could sometimes hinder narrative clarity, and its reliance on nonverbal communication might have created barriers for certain audiences. Despite these limitations, dance remained an essential component of the historical and artistic legacy of Greek theatre, showcasing the intricate interplay between movement, emotion, and storytelling in ancient performance. So this is the video, guys. I hope you had a proper insight how to attempt a critique of the role of dance in ancient Greek theatre with examples. Now let me remind you that this particular question came in December term and examination 2022. So if you have any other difficulty understanding any particular portion of this particular session, do feel free to comment in the comment section. I'll definitely try to address it. Also find yourself free to join our social community handles to be regularly updated about IGNOU's latest notifications. The link of all we will find in the descriptions, along with the links of other playlists of subjects which you have in your course. Also, do subscribe the channel if you find our content interesting and if it adds any value to your preparation. Till we meet next time, God bless you and thank you all.